My name is Sun Ming Kong. My student number is 1655326. In here, we would like to illustrate that why we would like to choose these topics. The ultimate goal of our proposed environmental policy is to reduce the impact of the waste on the environment. Legislation on waste separation has immediate case. When a government decides to legislate, the relevant policy will have legal effect. Hong Kong citizens must abide by the reference law, or they will be punished. Legislative classification can also set clear direction and targets on which members of the public can sort their rubbish and avoid repeating mistakes, such as separating recycling waste from ordinary rubbish bin. Finally, compared with other legislative policies, such as the plastic bag levy schemes, the legislative classification of garbage seems to be more acceptable to the public and can fundamentally allay the garbage problem. The plastic bag levy is often accused of being undercharged and underregulated, making it less deterrent. Some people may worry about the lower environmental awareness of the general public, and they blame it that the government has not actively promoted environmental education. As a matter of fact, in education vows, the administration is now working with various environmental groups, such as Greenpeace, to promote environmental education. In school education, the administration has already set up different courses such as the general study at primary school level, social education and liberal education at secondary school levels. Moreover, the government has set up different environmental protection plans, such as the Hong Kong Green School Awards, to cultivate young people's awareness of environmental protection. In addition to school education, the authority also held different activities ranging from World Environment Days to Hong Kong Environmental Protection Days to promote public environmental protection education. As the government continues to promote education actively, it is believed that the legislation will help adolescents and the general public to develop a good environmental knowledge and enhance the overall environmental awareness of the community. Members of the public will surely and be more willing to accept the classification of legislations. Citizens are concerned that the government lacks the capacity to regulate in the absence of the legislative classification. However, taking the fight against illegal dumping of construction waste as an example, the government and the Environmental Protection Department had flexible deployments of personnel for patrons and adding 35 newer video systems equipped with artificial intelligence. Under the strict supervision of the administration, the numbers of involving illegal disposal of construction waste has more than doubled from 62 in 2014 to 136 in 2018. And you can see that the Hong Kong government has sufficient manpower and equipment to support the policy and to take enforcement actions against those who break the law. In terms of economics, Hong Kong financial reserves are projected to be 11 billion by 2020. As a policy adjusts on the future direction of Hong Kong, in the 2019 policy adjust, the government will allocate about 400 million to promote the waste reduction and recovery, to support the recycling industry, In view of the fact that other sectors of the community, such as the catering industry, are subjected to policy such as the legislation on recycling, which may to some extent increase their costs, the government has set up different funds for them to apply, such as the recycling funds, by providing tax incentives and to let the local enterprise and income earners to promote a circular economics. The following will analyze how the legislation of mandatory recycling classification can achieve sustainable development principles. The very first is social sustainability. Sustainable social development means that the society has enough resources to maintain its operation. Regarding the Hong Kong soil waste monitoring report, the average daily amount of municipal soil waste disposed to landfill is 10,000 tons. However, more than 90% of MS stuff can be recycled if we can make use of the garbage recycling. Therefore, reducing the amount of waste that ends up in the landfill and additional costs, such as the landfill expansion costs about 300 millions. And it can make more money available for other public services, such as the sources to education, the shortage of medical resources in the territory. Second is environmental sustainability. It means that the reduction of pollutants and the recycling of raw materials to protect the natural environment from damage. In terms of reduce the emission of pollutants, mandatory legislative classification can actively classify dangerous substances such as heavy material and cadmiums to prevent them from affecting the food chain and the environment. Waste separation is also conducive to reducing the amount of waste eventually disposed of and the problems caused by the excessive waste. For example, the, uh, the explanation of landfills will affect the environment and will release harmful substances that pollute the environment and ultimately achieve environmental protection. On the other hand, resources recycling can improve the proportion of waste recycling. For example, reduce the mutual pollution between different wastes, such as the mutual and cardios. And also 90% of the rubbish can actually be recycled. For instance, discarded glasses bottle can be made into recycled for tiles, and it can recycle raw material.